City Manager Larry Hansen talks about Valdosta's Smart Energy Municipality of the Year Award. I sit down with Mayor John Gayle to hear about what to expect in 2015. We give you a closer look at the Valdosta Fire Department after the tornado in late December, and we take you to the Turner Center for the Arts to give you a look at some upcoming events. These stories and more on this edition of City Focus. Hello, I'm Michael Hawkinson, Media Coordinator for the City of Valdosta. Thank you for joining us for the first episode of City Focus in 2015. Our first story of the year takes us back to 2014. On December 4th, the City of Valdosta was named Smart Energy Municipality of the Year by the Technology Association of Georgia. The City of Valdosta was one of the 2 finalists chosen from 66 nominations in the municipality category, which includes cities, counties, and state government agencies. City Manager Larry Hansen accepted the award on behalf of the city during the awards banquet held at the Georgia Tech Wardlaw Building in Atlanta. I talked with him about some of the steps Valdosta has taken to earn the title of Smart Energy Municipality of the Year.
Some of the things we've done in the area of smart energy are probably a decade ago changing out all our traffic bulbs and our traffic signals to LED bulbs, which are much more efficient, have a much longer life expectancy. When you have 125 traffic signals like we do, that really matters. And now we're excited that we'll be one of the first 5 cities in Georgia out of 535 to transition all of our street lights to LED lighting, and they're much more efficient, much longer life expectancy. The technology in them will notify the company immediately if one is burned out or malfunctioning. They have a much higher quality light. There's less spillage, and there's less dead areas in between lights. So it's going to improve street lighting at less cost and with a much greater life expectancy. And we'll be the first city in South Georgia to have our entire city street lights changed to LED lighting. So we're excited about that. But today we look at energy, and smart energy in particular, in everything we do, whether it's how we operate our water plant, our wastewater treatment plants, use of generators, so that on days, particularly peak days in July when power is at its highest, there are days we shop rates. We may choose to operate our facilities with our own generators as opposed to purchasing power off the grid from the providers. It saves our taxpayers money, saves our ratepayers money. So we look in every case that we do. In fact, we had set an example several years ago to try and decrease our energy costs by 10%, and we've met that goal now, and so we want to establish a new goal because it's something we should constantly do. And it's really about all providing a better service at the least possible cost to our taxpayers and our ratepayers.
For a detailed look at the steps Valdosta has taken to become the Smart Energy Municipality of the Year, visit valdostacity.com. High school juniors and seniors are encouraged to enter the essay contest sponsored by the Mayor's Council for People with Disabilities. Essays should focus on the theme of expect, employ, empower, and challenge misconceptions about disabilities. Students are encouraged to enhance their submissions by gathering interviews and discover the skill set that those with disabilities can bring to an organization. Essays will be judged by members of the community, and the author of the winning essay will receive a $500 reward. For a detailed list of the contest rules and requirements, and for submission guidelines, contact Margaret Duncan by phone at 229-245-2498 or by email at mlduncan@valdosta.edu. And for the younger students, the City of Valdosta and the Georgia Municipal Association are sponsoring an essay contest for local 6th graders. The If I Were Mayor, I Would essay contest presents students with the opportunity to use their knowledge of civics and creative writing to express how they would make a difference as mayor. The students with the first, second, and third place essays will be recognized by Valdosta's Mayor John Gayle, and their essays will be displayed outside of City Council chambers. One winning essay, along with an essay from the other 11 GMA districts, will be entered in a statewide competition. The authors of the winning essays will be invited to an awards luncheon with their families and receive a $250 award and other prizes. Of these 12 essays, an overall winner will be chosen and will receive an additional $250. All Area 6th graders are encouraged and eligible to compete, whether they attend public, private, or homeschool. Students should submit their entries by March 6th to the City of Valdosta Public Information Office, If I Were Mayor Essay Contest, 300 North Lee Street, number 102, Valdosta, Georgia, 31601. Contest entry forms can be found at valdostacity.com/public information. For more information, contact the Public Information Division at 229-259-3548 or by email at smatthews@valdostacity.com. Valdosta provides a variety of opportunities for citizens to get involved in the community by serving on the city's boards, commissions, and authorities. On this episode of City Focus, we'll take a look at Valdosta's Historic Preservation Commission. This commission of 7 citizens meets the first Monday of each month and is tasked with ensuring that any new development or redevelopment inside the local historic district is consistent with locally adopted design guidelines. In addition, the HPC is responsible for recommending historic properties for local historic designation. Dr. Harry Ham, chairman of the Historic Preservation Commission, describes the group.
We are a commission of 7 people who help protect the integrity of buildings that are being renovated or changed in our community. We handle all the historic district, and that is sort of a gerrymandered map that if somebody's interested in what the historic district is, they have to get a map and look at it. It's hard to define. But any buildings that are changed exterior in the community, we're here to discuss it and decide the best thing to do to preserve those buildings for historical integrity.
This year, there will be 3 positions opening up on the commission, with applications being accepted now.
Yes, positions are for a 3-year period, and people different ones serve different lengths of time. And this time we happen to have 3 whose terms are expiring. And we prefer that it be people who have interest in historic properties, perhaps people who are educated, such as architects, builders, people who have restored houses, and primarily people who live in the historic district. They have a real interest in the houses and the buildings. It isn't just about houses, it's about commercial buildings as well. So we do need somebody who is interested in the preservation of buildings in general, and those 3 positions are appointed by City Council. And so whoever City Council appoints, and I think 2 of the 3 people who are currently serving, whose terms are expiring, they have expressed an interest to continue. It doesn't mean they'll all be chosen. The City Council makes that decision.
To be considered for appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission, applicants must submit a completed boards, commissions, authorities, and advisory committees application to Teresa Bolden, City Clerk at City Hall, 216 East Central Avenue. Chairman Ham gives a few words of advice to anyone interested in the positions.
Come in and talk to the staff of the planning office about expectations, or talk to some of the board members who are currently serving to get a feel for our philosophy, to know that they fit into the sorts of things that we're trying to do, and people who support the ordinances that are in place. We want to make sure, we hope that they will follow those ordinances. That's what they're there for. So my advice would be look at the ordinances right around the historic area and look at the houses and know that many of those houses are there today because of this commission and the protection we have provided. Our purpose is to make sure those buildings are protected for the future.
For additional information on the Historic Preservation Commission, contact the Planning and Zoning Division at 229-259-3563. And if you're looking for additional opportunities to serve the community in the new year, visit valdostacity.com for details on these and other opportunities throughout the year. Valdosta's Employee Relations Committee has chosen Willie Jones of the city's engineering department as January's Employee of the Month. He began work with Valdosta's engineering department in September of 1996 as a sign maintenance worker. After numerous promotions throughout his career, Willie currently holds the position of stormwater technician. Willie went beyond the call of duty when he discovered a broken down vehicle with a woman and 3 children in need of assistance. Being a mechanic by trade, Willie quickly discovered the problem with the vehicle was a failed water pump. Using his own resources, Willie unselfishly volunteered to have the vehicle repaired. Willie's charity, kindness, and willingness to help those in need have cemented his place as January's Employee of the Month. Once again, all of us at City Focus would like to congratulate Willie Jones, and we applaud his actions that led to his award. Stick around for more news. City Focus will return right after this break.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who do something, the people who take action, are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Welcome back to City Focus. I'm joined today with Mayor John Gayle of the City of Valdosta. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Mayor.
Well, you're welcome.
Now, first off, with this being our first show of 2015, we want to take a look back at 2014. Now tell me, what were, in your opinion, some of the defining moments of that year for Valdosta?
Well, I think the biggest moment for Valdosta, of course, was the fact that we finally signed a contract to do the force main project and move the wastewater treatment plant. This is a $56 million project, and of course that's a big chunk of money. And we had been wrestling with a lot of different ways to pay for that project, trying to get a loan from FEMA, trying to get help from the federal government, which we spent 3 years trying to do that and were turned down. So we finally, we put this on our SPLOSH list, of which it's almost, it's over 2/3 of the SPLOSH list, the money that we will bring in. So there's no question about that being the biggest thing that happened during 2014. Other than that, 2014 was a very successful year. I mean, we actually, although our revenues are down, we did the things that we had on our list and our goals to accomplish during that year. There's still a couple of them that we're in the process of finishing up, but by and large, we completed all our goals that we had set at the beginning of 2014. And so now we've had our weekend, and I like to call it, instead of a retreat, I like to call it a yearly planning and goal setting weekend, because that's basically, I mean, that's what we did. We spent 2 intense days meeting and discussing. All the councilmen had their needs that they thought their districts in the city needed, and some other things that applied to the city as a whole. So we discussed everything in general and came up with another 12 goals.
Now, you just mentioned your, not retreat weekend, but planning weekend.
Planning weekend.
And I know that there were 12 points that were released. Now, can you mention some of these topics that were discussed over the weekend, and what will we expect to see in 2015?
Okay. All right. Our biggest thing, number one priority, is our work that we're doing right now with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And we're trying to secure funding. You know, they did a study here and came up with a solution, somewhat of a solution to our flooding problem. It's not a complete solution, but it will cut down on the amount of floodwaters that come into the city. And that's a levee out here on the northwest section of town. It's over, I think it's about 4 miles long, quite honestly, and it's $4 million. And so that in itself is one of the biggest projects that we'll be facing. On the 28th of this month, we will be meeting again with the Army Corps of Engineers, the Department of Natural Resources, and the Environmental Protection Agency in Atlanta, and hopefully a representative of the governor's office will be there, along with our delegation. And we will be asking them to put $4 million in the budget for us to do that project.
And this is a little bit off topic. I know this isn't in the 12 points here, but it was released on social media that you guys were talking about hopefully bringing in some film industry people back to Valdosta. Is there anything you can say about that?
Well, that's an action item. You know, Valdosta has had some movie productions here in the past. We've had Gator, Crow on a June Bug, and a couple others that, and the film industry is becoming large in Georgia. For some reason, Georgia has been attracting the film industry. It's actually moving out of North Carolina and coming to Georgia. So we have had some visitors recently, from what I understand, that have looked at us, and we'll do anything we can to work with them and present the city to the film industry and hope it happens.
Well, hopefully that pans out. And thank you again for joining me today.
Oh, you're certainly welcome.
Always welcome to come back.
I enjoyed it.
And when we come back from City Focus, we'll talk about the Valdosta Fire Department and the tornado that recently hit Valdosta in late December. You're watching City Focus here on Metro 17.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Hey, my name's Katie and I'm in the 9th grade. I'm an A average student and I'm an athlete working towards a scholarship. And everybody tells me how much potential I have. But I just wish someone would tell me where my next meal is coming from. Katie, how'd I do?
Do you have to be so serious?
Well, I mean, I did like a crazy dance in a movie, if you want me to, like, you know, do a little, no.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
On December 29th, around 11:30 a.m., with no warning or weather advisory, a tornado touched down in Valdosta near Old Clyattville Road. The majority of the damage from the storm occurred at the Langdale Company, where 3 buildings were destroyed. 9 people were injured, with 4 of them taken to South Georgia Medical Center for treatment. This event took everyone by surprise, including the National Weather Service in Tallahassee.
It's not unusual in the aspect that, you see a storm rapidly develop. This storm was being actively monitored by the radars that we have at our office, continuing to watch it closely, and it rapidly developed into a tornado on the ground here. Again, this is an unusual case. We were watching a very small storm. We believe that it interacted with a small boundary that was across the area, and that kind of increase the spin, so to speak. And once you start to get some of the spin moving, that's sometimes going to lead to the development of a tornado. It was very brief, but also very locally intense. That's what gave us the EF2 rating on the storm. And a lot of times like this, we rely on reports that we get from our local partners that are in the field. We really appreciate Lowndes County E911 and the Emergency Management Agency getting information back to us in our office in Tallahassee very quickly, it allows us to get warnings out to the public.
And of course, there were the firefighters that responded to the call. Though some of these firefighters had just finished their regular shifts moments before, they raced back to the fire department to protect the citizens of Valdosta.
I was actually in the gym working out, to tell you the truth, when I got the call. Once I got the call, I immediately went back to my truck and started sending out messages to A-shift personnel to get them on scene. I contacted Captain Rowan to see what additional resources we might need. Of course, we had other trucks that we could bring up here to stage and things like that. I went to Station 2 and got my gear. I also picked up our one of our support trucks, which is Airlight 1, and brought it up to Station 1 for staging. This is really not our first rodeo. The biggest incident we've had in recent years was Permafix, of course, and we had the same type call-in, and actually we had just as many or more guys to show up. We didn't have to turn anybody around that day. But basically it was pretty calm. Everybody was calm. It's just business as usual. We were ready to go and fulfill any obligations that we had to take care of.
We were on the way to get some lunch and got the call from Captain Rowan and told my wife that I had to report into work, so we went by Station 2 to pick up my search and rescue gear and reported to Station 1. Well, I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a little bit excited. I mean, we all enjoy what we do, so we want to help people every chance we get. So my wife, she knew that when we got married, and she understands the risk that I take. And I told them that I'd be careful and I'd be back to see them later tonight. We've been well trained here, and you're just focused on the job at hand. And your main objective is getting the person out or trying to help whoever you're trying to save.
As Sergeant Whitehead said, he was with his family at the time he was called in to respond to the tornado. So how did the families of the firefighters respond to the incident? How do they feel about having a loved one serving as a firefighter?
I really don't think twice about it. I mean, yeah, I worry, but it's really not bad until after he comes home. Oh, guess what I did? Oh, that could have went really wrong. Now I worry, but I think we just kind of trained ourselves to not really think about it and just trust in his training and that he's going to make right decisions. Like I said, I was in full support of him and what he did before we got married. And so, of course, when the kids came along, I wanted him to be extra careful, but I think he wanted that for himself, so I didn't really press it too much on him.
I think it's just something I've gotten in a groove of doing. Like, this is his passion. He's been in it almost 15 years, so, now he gets the call, all right, see you later, be safe, call me when everything's done. So, yeah, it's kind of a groove once you've been doing it for a while. I know that he's been trained well, and I know he's not going to do anything that is going to jeopardize his safety. It's what he signed up for. It's what I pretty much signed up for as well, being that this is his profession. So, it all comes with the territory.
And there are some misconceptions about firefighting as a profession. Some say it's a men's game. However, some of the firefighters that responded to the incident on Old Clyattville Road were the female members of the Valdosta Fire Department.
The standards are the same across the board for the women and the men. I mean, when you go into a fire scene or whatever is going on, you're expected to be able to pull your weight just as well as the guys. So, I mean, and you wouldn't want to go into that situation and one of your male counterparts needs you and you can't help them because you're a girl. You wouldn't want that to be a problem. So, I mean, you work just as hard as the guys. For me, it's just firefighting. It's not really about her being a woman or her being a woman or them being guys or whatever. We're a team and we're going to do it together. It's a 2 in, 2 out type of thing. Doesn't matter if I'm with Lieutenant Rowan or a male lieutenant, it's a team effort.
We all do the same job. We all have the same objective. And I don't have a lot of the upper body strength, but I use my equipment, I use my personnel, and the resources I have available to me. I got determination, and if you're determined, you can do about anything. I was an EMT in Atlanta before I came here. We went to Fulton County Fire Department, and I saw the camaraderie that they had. And it wasn't about men or women or anything like that. It was a brotherhood, sisterhood, and you work together. We may have our differences, but we all in the end work together.
The firefighters see themselves as a family of regular people doing their job. However, when your job involves saving lives and protecting the citizens of Valdosta, it's understandable that many people view these men and women as heroes.
That's very flattering, but I don't think anybody that works here feels that way. It's just a job to us, and we try to do it the best that we can, just like anybody else.
With the recent unexpected weather, heavy rains this winter, and flood season approaching, it's important to be aware of the precipitation levels throughout Lowndes County. Now there's an online resource that helps citizens get an accurate, real-time picture of what's taking place locally. The Community Collaborative Rain, Hail, and Snow Network, or COCORAS, is a non-profit, community-based network of volunteers working to measure and map precipitation levels throughout the United States. To use this handy service, visit cocoras.org. On the map, click on Georgia. After that, find Lowndes County on the map. Once you select the county, you will be able to see precipitation levels. The default view is of the present day, but you can use the menu above the map to find out levels for previous days. Though this time of year may be cold and wet, it also happens to be the best time to plant trees. Kevin Jenkins, Urban Forestry Supervisor for Valdosta's Engineering Department, shows us the proper way to plant trees here in the city.
Right now is the best time to do any kind of tree care. If you're planting, pruning, anything like that, because the trees are dormant. What that means is the trees actually slow down, they lose their leaves. The water and the nutrients aren't flowing through the tree as much as they would be during the spring and the summertime. So right now is a good time to go in there and take out any branches, do any corrective pruning you want to do, and plant trees, which is what we're going to do here today. We're got a nice little live oak right here behind me that we're going to plant in the ground. The first thing you want to do when you're planting the tree is make sure your hole is at the right depth. You want to plant or dig your hole to the size of the root ball, not the container, the root ball itself. And you want to make sure that the root ball and the hole are the exact same size. Planting the tree too deep will kill the tree. And then once you take your tree out of the container, look at the root ball, you'll see some roots going around the root ball itself. What you want to do is you want to take your shovel, sharp knife or something and cut those roots. And once you get your tree in the hole, you'll start to backfill. And as you're backfilling it, what you want to do is fill it up, fill the hole up full of loose dirt all the way to the top of the root ball. Get your water hose out and start washing in the dirt. What you're trying to do is remove all the air pockets in the root ball, in and around the root ball. And so once you get your tree in the ground, what you want to do then, and you get all the dirt level, is saturate it full of water until you see standing water on top of the root ball. Let that sink down, put on your water bag, fill your water bag up, put your emitters in, and you're good to go. Simple process. Simple process.
In addition to planting trees, the best time of year to prune trees in South Georgia is between the months of October and February. One incorrect method of pruning, called tree topping, involves removing entire tree tops, leaving stubs. The International Society of Arboriculture states that topping is perhaps the most harmful tree pruning practice known, yet despite more than 25 years of public education explaining its harmful effects, topping remains a common practice. Tree topping can lead to a variety of negative effects. Topping can cause stress to trees by depriving them of leaves and temporarily starving them. The practice can lead to tree decay and sunburn. Topping can destroy the natural beauty of the tree, leaving unattractive stubs in the place of branches. The City of Valdosta has an ordinance in place to help protect the urban forest through proper pruning practices. Violations of the ordinance will result in the removal and replacement of the damaged trees and a possible fine of up to $500 per tree violation. The City of Valdosta urges citizens to help in the protection and preservation of Valdosta's urban forest. For more information, contact the Arbor Division at 229-259-3530 or visit valdostacity.com.
In 1977, in Johannesburg, South Africa, an 8-year-old boy picked up the game of golf from his father. By the age of 9, he was already outplaying him. The odds of this gentle lad winning the Junior World Golf Championships at the age of 14, 1 in 16 million. The odds of that same boy then making it to the US and European Pro Golf Tours, 1 in 7 million. The odds of the Big Easy winning the Open Championship once, and the US Open Championship twice. 1 in 780 million. The odds of this professional golfer having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. Ernie Els encourages you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you are really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Applications for the annual Government 101 Citizen Orientation Program are being accepted, so if you have an interest in getting a behind-the-scenes look at your local government, make sure to apply soon. Classes will be held each Monday evening, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. for 6 weeks, beginning April 6th.
Citizens have until March 20th to apply for Valdosta 101, which is a program designed to give citizens a closer look at their local government, the 10 departments of the city, and the programs and services they provide for citizens. The first 25 applicants that complete the application process and the background check process will be admitted to the class and make up the class of 2015. And that includes up to 5 high school seniors who also have a parent or guardian in the program. Mayor and Council highly recommend this program for people who want to learn more about their local government, as well as those who want to be more intimately involved in their program.
The Government 101 Citizens Orientation is just one of the 3 opportunities citizens can take advantage of to see how the city functions. This program, along with the Citizens Police Academy and the Citizens Fire Academy, are designed to teach citizens about the inner workings and resources of the various departments that make up the city of Valdosta. For those interested in applying to Government 101 Citizens Orientation, application forms can be found at City Hall, the Customer Service Center, and the Public Information Office, or online at valdostascity.com/publicinformation. Completed applications should be mailed by March 20th to the Public Information Office, Valdosta City Hall Annex, 300 North Lee Street, Room 102. 2014 was a good year for the Valdosta Police Department. The past year, the number of Part 1 crimes, which include aggravated assault, homicide, auto theft, and burglary, went down from 2013's numbers. For the 6th year straight, the VPD exceeded the national clearance rate for all major Part 1 crimes. And in an article posted by a national security system company listing the 20 most dangerous cities in Georgia, Valdosta was absent, even though it is the state's 14th largest city. For more information, I talked with Brian Childress, chief of the Valdosta Police Department.
When you have a concentration of people, you're going to have crime. I don't care who you are or where you're from. And so Valdosta is no different than any other city. But what's wonderful about what I'm about to tell you is that in 2000, our population was 43,000. We're bigger now, yet our crime levels of Part 1 crimes are lower than they were in 2000. Now, what does that mean? That means to me that our police department, not me, but our police department, the men and women that work here are doing a good job. It also means the community is doing a good job of working with us, and so I'm proud of that. I can tell you that, for example, one of our biggest problems in Valdosta is burglaries. Again, going back to the UCR data, the FBI they'll chart out the United States. They got a map of the U.S. And in that chart, they divide the U.S. up into sections or regions. And I can tell you, every year since I've been doing crime analysis, that the South is always the highest in Part 1 crimes. Biggest reason for that is income. The incomes in the South are usually a little lower than they are in the other part of the country. And then, of course, poverty. And generally, you see poverty a little higher in the South than you do in the other parts of the country. And so, unfortunately for us, there's good parts of being in the South and there's bad parts. One bad part is because we're in a region where you generally have more crime. But burglaries is a problem for us. That is our #1 issue, and we targeted that in 2013. In 2013, after I was named chief, we created a burglary unit. And inside that unit, we took detectives who do nothing but focus on, as those burglary reports come in, trying to solve more crimes. A lot of folks don't know this, but burglary is one of the most difficult crimes in any crime to solve. In fact, burglaries are harder to solve than homicides. The average clearance rate, as published by the FBI, for burglaries is about 13.1%. Not very high, is it? But for homicides, it hovers over 60%. So they're hard to solve. Burglaries generally occur during the daytime when you're not at home, and because people don't mark their belongings, and now folks are wearing gloves and things of that nature, it's hard to solve. But every year, since 2009 through 2014, this department and the men and women that work here have maintained a clearance rate above the national average in all Part 1 crimes. We're clearing more cases than the average of the rest of the country. Now that's good. But, we need to go back and look at what we did in 2014 and talk about crime stats. And I know there's people out there right now that have been burglarized or who've been a victim of crime, and I'm not making light of that. I would love to be able to tell the city manager, who's my boss, we've had 0 crime, but we can't do that. But I would say this too, even if you were a victim of a crime, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure it doesn't happen again, and maybe it won't happen to someone else. And so that's why I'm saying that, yes, crime is down in Valdosta, but we just need to work harder to make sure we get it down even lower and keep it down.
On January 12th, the Annette Howell Turner Center for the Arts hosted its annual Draw Project. The project raises money for Valdosta State University art students by auctioning off the donations of local artists. I met with Cheryl Oliver of the Turner Center for the Arts to discuss the Draw Project and other events and exhibits the center will be hosting in the next few months.
This is an annual collaboration with the VSU Art Department. Area and regional artists donate original works of art, which are then framed and hung on the walls, and then they are offered for auction. So even though the opening is January the 12th, and that will be the silent and live auction, pieces that are still available for sale will continue to be offered for auction throughout the month of February. So there's plenty of opportunity to collect some original works of art.
Tonight we're featuring the 2015 Draw Project, which is an annual fundraiser that we do in partnership with the Annette Howell Turner Center for the Arts. It's our 7th annual event, and we raise scholarships for VSU art students who are art, interior design, and art education students. Some of the works are by VSU students, some are regional, local artists, some are by national artists as well. So we try to tap into our current scholarship student base, some of our current students, and also our alumni, and just friends of the arts and friends of our program.
Our galleries change art, 4 of them change art every 6 weeks. So you're never going to be bored here. There's always going to be something new to see. Along with the Draw Project for the next 6 weeks will be an exhibit in the Price Campbell Foundation Gallery, which is where we're standing right now, by Dominic Giesling, a VSU art professor. Dominic spent 12 days on the Swanee River, and he documented his trip with some absolutely amazing artwork, photographs, black and white. And he has printed these in outsized images that will hang on the wall, so it will be like you are taking the trip down the Swanee River when you come and walk through the gallery. In Josette's gallery, we will feature a retrospective of Don Pettigrew's work. Don is a beloved artist who died last January from cancer. Collectors of his works are loaning pieces to us for this retrospective, and it's just really a way of commemorating his extremely fine talent. We're very excited to be able to do that, especially along with the Draw Project, because he was such a supporter of that. He always donated works which went for good prices and were highly sought after by collectors. The Turner Center for the Arts is a regional nonprofit art center. We are everyone's art center. There's never an admission, so you can just walk through our doors and enjoy what we have to offer and consider it your art center.
For more information on the Turner Center for the Arts, including an up-to-date list of all the events hosted by the center, visit turnercenter.org or call 229-247-2787. And that's all the stories we have for you for this edition of City Focus. Visit our website at valdostacity.com/metro17 to view this and previous episodes of the show. And if you would like to keep updated on what's going on in the city, follow us on Twitter at City of Valdosta and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Metro 17 Valdosta. And stay connected to Metro 17, your news and information station, for more great programming. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on City Focus.